Hi, sixth graders. I have a short science video for you to introduce the topic that you're going to be working on this week. Hopefully you can hear me and it's not too loud out here. But there is a really great puddle right here. I don't know if you can see it. I've got a couple other things to show you. But that puddle is obviously here because it rained yesterday. Today is actually Monday when I'm filming this. And if you remember yesterday on Sunday, it rained quite a bit. And there was obviously some evidence of that with that puddle. And then I'm walking up here toward our patio where I have this bucket. And hi, Richard. And this bucket has some rainwater in it. And I bring you out here to show you that for a little introduction to the water cycle, or in sixth grade, I call it the hydrologic cycle, because that's what it is. We have great knowledge of word parts, and one of the first ones we did was hydro, and that has to do with water. And the hydrologic cycle is just how water moves from different forms on the earth. And if we were at school, I would have started by having you grab a glass of water. So if you want to pause this video and go get a glass of water, you could do that now. And I would have you grab that glass of water and have you take such a big drink. And then, so if you got a water, take a really big drink and swallow it. And then I would tell you that the water you're drinking now is the same water that's been on the earth for millions of years. It is the same water that dinosaurs bathed in, peed in, wallered around in. And it just goes through. Don't spit it out. Don't ban drinking water. It just goes to show you how that water cycle continues on and on and on. And it never ends. That's what a cycle is, right? It goes on forever. And so the water cycle is really fascinating when you stop to think about it. And I know that sounds like a dorky science teacher thing to say. But to know that that water in that bucket that I just showed you and the water in this puddle came from up there, came from those clouds in the sky. Hopefully you saw clouds in the sky from there. You see clouds up there? Yeah. That water came from up there. And as this water in this puddle warms up from the sun, it's going to evaporate and turn into vapor. Vapor. It's going to turn into vapor. It's going to go up into the atmosphere, and we can't see it at that point. And as it gets way up there in the atmosphere, it's a lot colder up there. It's going to cool down, and it's going to turn back into tiny little droplets of water. And those droplets of water are going to kind of stick together, and that actually forms clouds. And when those clouds get really full and heavy of those droplets of water, it's almost like a sponge that gets really full. It has to release. And so when the clouds get really full of those water droplets, then they release in the form of precipitation. And that could be, right now, it's rain. Hopefully, we don't want snow, but that's another form of precipitation. Sleet, hail, all of those are forms of precipitation. And then it falls back to the earth, and it can fall in a lot of different places, and that's all part of the water cycle. It can fall into your driveway, like I just showed you, that water puddle. It can fall back into the ocean, which is really likely, right? Because the ocean takes up such a big amount of space on the earth. It can fall back into lakes and ponds and streams and rivers. It can fall into the grass and soak back into the ground as groundwater. So that water cycle is just continuous, and then once it falls back down to earth, then the cycle kind of starts all over again, and it goes through that process of evaporation. I don't think I mentioned it, but when it turns back into water in the atmosphere and forms clouds, we call that condensation. And you can see examples of that on a small scale with even just a glass or a cup that has water in it that kind of sweats on the outside. That's an example of condensation. Or after you take a shower and you look at the mirror, it's kind of all fogged up with tiny little droplets of water. It's another example of that. You can build a little mini water cycle just simply by putting a glass of water in a sunny spot. Put maybe some saran wrap or clear plastic wrap on the top, and you will see how that water heats up and then clings to the top of that plastic and falls back as precipitation. It's kind of like that whole process. So the assignment I have for you is to learn a little bit more in depth that whole process, and specifically kind of how that water can change from a puddle and possibly into underground water, or into water on a glacier, or water in the ocean. And so the assignment I have for you is actually a whole week long. It's a separate slideshow that you're going to access through this Tuesday slide, and you have all week to work on it. Slides 1 through 6 are different videos and websites and diagrams and activities to help you learn about the water cycle. And it's actually slide 7 that you are going to fill in, and you're going to use slides 1 through 6 to help you find the answers to slide 7. So slide 7 is like the required slide that you have to fill in and turn in finished by Thursday afternoon. Slide 8 is completely optional. It's kind of like a bonus extra credit kind of thing. So this will make a lot more sense when you get into it. If you're still with me, thank you so much for listening as I walk around outside on this beautiful day and talk about the water cycle, or the hydrologic cycle. So at this point you can get down into number 2 on the Tuesday slide, open up that water cycle assignment, and like I said, you have all week to work on it. So I'd go through the first couple slides today, just kind of divide it up, go through the first couple today, get some questions answered on that 7th slide, because that is what you have to have done by Thursday. So I miss you guys. I miss teaching you science. I miss doing fun activities with you. But this is the best I can do from this distance. So make it a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.